No show tomorrow, so we're going to act like it's Friday. The vibes are high. Big Nick energy. Got it. On the show today, that's right, Super Bowl champion Nick Foles is going to stop by. The Giants just got Isaiah Simmons. Come on, Wink Martindale. Do your thing. We'll talk about that. And I've got 3 running back sleepers for your drafts ahead of preseason action with Aaron Rodgers, Week 3. Okay, we've got some fun news to start with this morning. You know, I love when I'm riding into work and I'm on the, I think, 405. It might be the 10. I literally don't know what highway it is. It's fine. And I'm doing my work and I'm talking to Hamilton and dun-dun-dun. This just in, the Cardinals' 8th overall pick, the athletic Isaiah Simmons, has been traded to the Giants for a future 7th rounder. We love it. Schefter reporting it. He broke the news, and I like it for the G-men because everyone wants to say, oh, maybe like, yeah, Simmons never panned out. He never reached his potential. He had some struggles in Arizona over the 3 years. You cannot forget that this was the guy that was compared athletically to LeBron James coming out of Clemson. That's the first thing I thought of. And then he has flashed ability to make game-breaking plays. He's done that. So I think there's been a bit of a struggle. Arizona's been a bit of a struggle, let's be honest, but how do you get the best out of him? How do you put him in the best position? As we we're saying on workflow wins championships. What is the best spot to put him in so he can thrive? Because he can do a lot of different things. He's super versatile. And to me, this is the perfect workflow situation for him because you have Wink Martindale, who's an absolute madman, who is going to be able, and he's going to want to, by the way, he's going to blitz all day. This is the guy who's so aggressive, and he's going to get aggressive with Simmons. As a blitzer, you're putting him in spots to shine, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Isaiah have a second act. And the really, I like when there's a nice comp, and this is a perfect one, it's Hassan Reddick. There are Hassan Reddick vibes here. Once coaches figured out how to use him, where to put him, it was a great situation for Reddick, for the Eagles, for the whole thing. So low risk, high reward move for New York, and one that I'm definitely keeping my eye on this year. Guys, tweet the show at Up and Adam Show if you have a question for Nick Foles, of course. Now, we got a surprise resolution / some movement in what is the most publicized backup quarterback race of all time. It's never happened before, but the Niners announced Sam Darnold as the number 2 quarterback on their depth chart. So Baker Mayfield literally just won the starting job the other day, and it hasn't gotten this much attention. This is the backup job in the Bay that we're talking about, and I kind of get it. It's been fascinating to get to this point, and now all eyes turn to Trey Lance, as I've talked about since April, when I knew Brock Purdy was going to be the guy. It was clear back in April what happened to Trey Lance. Shanahan told KNBR Radio in San Francisco on a pre-recorded hit. I think it's probably like an appearance he does every once in a while, every week. I'm not quite sure. But he gave Trey the day off yesterday after breaking the news because he felt it was the best thing for his quarterback, given how that convo went. Ugh. And I feel for Trey. And you know who's going to talk about Trey Lance with us? Nick Foles, sort of the perfect person to ask about the situation, advice for him, and what to make of it. But we've heard nothing but great things about him as a person. He's clearly talented. Injuries have played their role in this for sure. The level of anger directed at Kyle Shanahan and the Niners brass, the venom for this is misplaced. I'm going to defend them because breakups are never easy, okay? Of course, there are things the Niners could have done differently here. And if you want to be upset that they used too much draft capital to get Trey, that could have been used on other valuable pieces of a team, or Justin Fields, or you can go back and look at the past, and that's fine, that's fair. But that's exactly why I'm giving them credit for moving on. It's not easy to do. We've seen so many teams over the years not just make one mistake, but compound them by continuing to stick with a guy who doesn't give the team the actual best chance. Teams that are steeped in draft capital, panache, pedigree, all of that, and are stuck in that because they don't want to be judged for making a mistake, and they further make them. They sort of do it like 10x. And that's not what Shanahan and Lynch are doing, right? Their obligation, what they've told this team what they're going to do, is put the best product on the field that gives them the best chance to win a Super Bowl. That's it. And as I've said since spring, if Trey Lance is not good enough to start for them, trading him would give them the best chance to do that going forward. I know that we don't want Christian McCaffrey out there throwing balls to people as an emergency QB. Hopefully it doesn't get there, because I'll say it one last time. The Niners are projected to be almost $13 million over the cap next season. Nick Bosa is not on the books there yet. And I think this move with a third-string quarterback situation, you know, and giving Trey the practice off, it's all a sign of what's to come here. The writing is on the wall. You're seeing the insiders swirling like sharks around it, okay? Reports that they are shopping Trey. Look I said Vikings, Ian jumped on the Vikings. It makes sense as a destination, sure it does. I don't think it's about getting a big draft pick in return. Whatever the Niners go and get for him will likely be a bit underwhelming, because you took Trey where you took him, but a deal would be more about keeping the rest of the family happy. Okay, it's a loaded roster. They need to stay intact before moving forward, and that's more important than what you're getting back. We talked to Dante Whitner about this. I sort of pushed back like, yeah, it's not just like, well, you're not going to get anything back. It's you're saving this money over the next 2 seasons, and you can maybe get Bosa, keep him happy, keep other pieces happy. So when it comes to these potential trades, we keep getting new layers to this Jonathan Taylor situation. I want to get to that too. Stephen Holder of ESPN reported yesterday the Colts have imposed a Tuesday deadline for Taylor to find a partner in all of this. It's on Taylor. It's on his agent to sort of find a way out of Indy that makes sense for both sides, and really 3 sides, the Colts, the other team, and for Jonathan Taylor and company. And that's the day, Tuesday, of course, when most teams have to set their rosters, get them whittled down to where they need to be with 53. So it makes sense, but I wonder what it means, guys, in the grand scheme of things. Is it the Colts saying, shop around and you're going to see, you know, we're willing to take that risk. You're not going to get as much as you think you are, so you might as well stay here? Or are they telling other teams that they'll take the best deal on Tuesday? Like, we have to get rid of this pool table. We're moving across the country. We can't ship it. Like, somebody has to go get it. It goes to the highest bidder. Like, what's the vibe here? I'm just verklempt about Jonathan Taylor. Guys, we're going to find out eventually. We'll figure it out. But having this hard deadline out there makes it weird, more dramatic, and more exciting. And as is this, by the way, story that surfaced this morning. The Dolphins tried to make a deal for Josh Jacobs. Did anybody hear this? They were told he's unavailable. So if they're making calls about Josh Jacobs, I'm just pointing this out for everybody out there on a Thursday, our Friday on the show, that's a pretty obvious indication that Miami is looking to swing big at the running back spot. No? And I think they'd make him a lot more aggressive on Jonathan Taylor. They're on the phone with them. No income tax? No, what tax in Miami? That's always the thing to go to Florida. Yeah, that might be a thing. Well, everybody knew that answer. State income tax. No state income tax there. So McDaniel, remember, Kyle Shanahan disciple. We've heard for years now about how you could plug anyone into that system and they'd be successful. The Niners ran through a ton of different backs and it worked out for them. But then last year, they went on and got Christian McCaffrey and it was a game changer. They went 12-0 with CMC as a starter until that NFC title game. So McDaniel took the old Shanahan approach last year, literally the same exact thing with players in San Francisco, where Mostert, Jeff Wilson. You'd have to think he's paying attention to, maybe we can't plug anyone. Maybe it does make a difference who we put in there. Maybe he's watching highlights and saying, wow, McCaffrey made this big of an impact for his mentors team. And maybe McDaniel is saying, I want to get an elite back of my own in here. It didn't work out with Dalvin Cook. That was a cute storyline that we had going on, of course, returning home to Florida, all of that. So I know there's other teams that are out there, but I'm on the Dolphins train for Jonathan Taylor. And all the Miami fans, I see you. I'm wearing your color today, kind of. Like, all of you saying, like, what about us? What about us going and getting these big guys? Go ahead and do that. Put him in the system with Tyreek, with Waddle, and watch Tua. Salty Tua, trending on Twitter yesterday. Salty Tua was trending. Watch Salty Tua set this league on fire. All right, we got a lot to get to, but I'm going to bring Hamilton in here because it is that time of the week. It's Thursdays in August. Big thanks to FanDuel Sportsbook for being so awesome and letting us give out these Profit Boost tokens. They customized them for our show. They're futures bets. So today, all customers can get 25% off Profit Boost to use on any NFL season leaders passing props market. We did win totals. We did it all. Now we're on to the stats, which I love. So you can bet on any quarterback to have the most regular season passing touchdowns or yards, and we'll give you your bet. And whatever you bet on, a 25% boost. It is straight bets only. You got to log in. You got to claim your NFL Profit Boost today. So Hamilton, as I'm looking at you here, there's some great options. Can I start though?
Of course. I mean, it's your show, I guess.
I think I want to just sort of start what is going to be, we're going to do predictions next week. We've got like 8 shows till the season starting next Monday. And I'm just going to like get and like really dip my toes into the Justin Herbert of it all. Like I'm going to be talking about Justin Herbert all season long, and you will be too, maybe most of you begrudgingly. But he's sitting at plus 500 to lead the NFL in passing this year, okay? You add Quentin Johnston. You add a healthy Keenan and Mike Williams. We saw them in the flesh. We interviewed them. Rashawn Slater is healthy. Kellen Moore's there. I think he's very much like let it rip, drop back, pass the ball over the yard. And this is sort of what caught my eye. So let it be known that Justin Herbert might be my MVP choice for the season. But for now, I think he leads the NFL in passing. What do you got?
I like that one a lot. And Justin Herbert's healthy too now, which is very important. I'm looking at, we talked about it all offseason, the Todd Monken offense, OBJ, Zay Flowers, all the new weapons. I'm looking at Lamar Jackson. And when you pull up this full screen, 4,000 plus passing yards, the regular season odds for that, he's at plus 310 right now. I think it's just a matter of him staying healthy with what we're hearing about what this offense is going to look like with all the talent around him. I would expect Lamar, I know he's talking about 6,000 yards. I think 4,000 is a good bar. He's never done that before, but I think this is the year it happens. And plus 310 with that profit boost, have to like that one.
Plus 310, you got Jordan Love there. There's a lot of interesting choices, and these future bets are so fun because at first, I like instant gratification. So I like that, you know me, I'm at the buzzer. If it comes to like who am I picking to do something, it's Sunday, the second before the game starts. But with these, there is something alluring to the fact that you kind of forget about it. And it's boosted 25%, and you're putting it in now, and then you're like, oh, snap, I won that when one of these things shakes out from these Thursday profit boost tokens. So again, guys, please get to where you need to go on FanDuel. All customers today, it's a 25% profit boost to use on any NFL season leaders passing props market. Bet on any quarterback to have the most regular season passing touchdowns or yards, and give yourself a 25% boost on straight bets only. Guys, log in, check your emails. It is all over. And again, FanDuel Sportsbook, thank you. I don't know, do we have another one of those left? I don't even know. We have one next, I don't think so. Is it September? We have one more Thursday in September? Wow. And then we ride into the season. Nick Foles is on the show. I meant August, not September. Weird show, weird day today, but we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk to you about the rookies, what they've done through the preseason. A lot of NFL fans just coming back right now saying, okay, we're going to dip our toes. We're going to get back in here. You need to know what these rookies have and have not done so far in the preseason. We've got a hammer time on Jordan Addison. And yep, Big Nick energy on the show. This is exciting. We have a brand new Up and Adams YouTube page. Okay, it's the fastest growing YouTube page in the world. Maybe it's Bobby Altoff, but at least you know I'm on an industry plan. Okay? I am not an industry plant. We are bringing you great content, great interviews. We've had so many quarterbacks on the show. We just booked another quarterback. A big-time quarterback will be on our show this month. We're very excited. Maybe 2. I can think of 2 that are coming on in the next week. So please, guys, go subscribe because we are going live every day, Monday through Friday on YouTube starting September 5th, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We're trying to convince Rob Gronkowski to come on for an entire show every week. Okay? We don't know if we have a deal with him yet, but we want him to come on. And when you're on YouTube watching live, you can comment, and he will answer you as we're sitting here. Through commercial breaks, it'll be live. Have you ever wondered, like, what does she do? Clearly, she doesn't put her lipstick on because it looks like this right now. She doesn't do that during the breaks, but what does she do? You can find out. So go to subscribe at Up and Adams Show on YouTube. Now, I'm having sort of like a proud mom/aunt moment this preseason /sister. Like, am I that old? I'm the mom and aunt. Geez. We have met and gotten to talk to and get to know so many phenomenal rookies through last spring, right before the draft and after, and I cannot help but be so on board, ride or die for them as they're finding their way with their new teams. Like, we are beaming from afar on Up and Adams. So we want to do a little rookie recap with some of our personal favorite guys that we're going to be keeping tabs on throughout the year. I mean, 2 of these guys made us Seahawks fans. Like, we became a Seahawks show because of them. So how are they doing in the preseason? Let's check out first with our guy, Tajay Spears, out of Tulane. See what he's doing. The Titans did a smart thing by picking him. They got him in the 3rd round. They're giving Derrick Henry a much-needed break. But throughout the whole draft process, there were people questioning the injury history. Can he stay healthy? Can he still fly? And here's what he had to say pre-draft back in April. all 32 teams were there. They all showed up. You were dealing with an injury. You didn't run the 40 at the combine. Getting that 4.4 time, how important was that to you?
It was important. It was important to show all 32 teams that I can run fast. That was probably the biggest question coming from the combine. Like, why you run? Is he fast? So like, just checking that box. It's all about just checking the box along this journey. That's all it was about.
I mean, is he fast? That was back when I was like shooting a commercial with Gronk in the back of an RV somewhere in New Jersey. Is he fast? I mean, just ask the Minnesota Vikings. Look at, a hurdle. That he just decided to put a little extra something on there. The pure, blinding breakaway speed for the 33-yard score. Derrick Henry's never had a backup like this. I don't think the Titans want to keep giving him, I don't even know, in the ballpark of 400 touches a year. So I think this kid gets a bunch of the totes this season in Nashville. Now, how about the Seahawks first rounder? We fell in love with Jackson Smith and Jigba. We had him on in the morning. We got his eyes as he saw the draft stage hours before he was taken by the Seahawks. And he talked with us about his skill set and what he'd bring to the NFL. Take a listen.
I would say my route running, my creativity, my spatial awareness and just being a reliable target. CJ knows, I'm working, I'm trying to get open, I'm going to catch the ball. A chain mover, I would like to say.
He wants to be reliable. Well, he needs to, by the way, he's so humble. He needs to start giving himself some more credit because take a look at what I've got here. A Subaru station wagon is reliable, okay? This is straight up Lambo stuff. An electric grab on this throw from Drew Lock to get Seattle down to the 1. He celebrated that a little bit, like he felt himself. He was going to score. The Eagles eventually punched it in anyway, so it's all good. He has been PFF's 4th highest grade rookie so far this preseason, but we did get some not so great news earlier this week. He's got a bit of a boo-boo. He suffered a wrist injury that will require surgery and is expected to be out 3 to 4 weeks. So we feel for you, Jackson. We are sending you all the positive vibes from your aunt/mom/sister/super fan on the show. And we know you're going to crush it when you get out there with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Now, next up, our first ever prospect guest, Auburn running back Tank Bigsby. People were tweeting me, why don't you talk about Tank Bigsby? Well, fine. We got the 3rd rounder out of Auburn, and he joined me all the way back in March and had this to say about his nickname.
So growing up, I was in the rec league, and my mom was at the game, and I was running the ball. My helmet came off, and I continued to run and scored a touchdown. And I came to the sideline, jumping with my teammates, and she had looked at me and she said, "You're running like a tank." So from that day forward, she's been calling me Tank. And that was like when I was like 7, 8 years old. So.
Okay, and that nicknames and skill set is translating to the NFL already in the preseason. We saw this. Take a look. It was this weekend against the Lions. Well, is he going to have a little bit of is he going to keep go? Oh, we're just going to make it that easy for him? Detroit, what are we doing here? Wow, that was amazing. Beautiful long run. He's the 4th leading rusher in the league this preseason. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry. A lot of buzz around him. We were happy to add to the good buzz, but there was talk about him eating into Travis Etienne's reps, especially near the goal line. And he's rising up those fantasy draft boards in a hurry. We love to see it. I think Tank only adds to the lore of him, but we love it. Okay, the next rookie I want to talk about, we cannot forget about 3rd overall pick from the Houston Texans, Mr. Will Anderson Jr. He comes out of Alabama, all smiles when I talked to him before the draft, and we pretty much manifested the whole him to H-Town thing. Take a listen. You went to Texas. You had meetings. How did they go?
It went great. The staff was great. The facility was great. The people were great. The players were cool. I had a really good time there, and the way they want to use me is special.
How do they want to use you?
Just a non-tech, off the edge, rushing to go to get the quarterback.
Well, hopefully maybe with you at number 2 overall. I would certainly like to see it. I love that smile. I mean, he's been flying around this preseason so far. This is just, God. Dolphins, I gave you guys love in the beginning of the show, so what I giveth, I taketh away. It's unfair to every Dolphin involved. This is ridiculous. Here we got. What is he, within the league, 10 years? He looks unstoppable so far. PFF also agrees. Our friends at PFF have him as their highest graded rookie this preseason. Highest, defense, offense, the whole thing, okay? So while so much focus has been on C.J. Stroud, we've given him his love, which he deserves. Let's not forget what Will can do for the Texans defense. Those 2 picks are going to change this team. D'Amico better be ready to change this team because they look really ready to do it as rookies on the squad. And there's more believers out there than just me, people. Take a look at the Defensive Rookie of the Year odds at FanDuel Sportsbook. Will Anderson, hey, he's leading the pack at plus 400. Our other friend, Devin Witherspoon, I see you at plus 1,000. These are our guys. These are sort of our guys. We're laying our claim to them, and we hope that they crush. So we're going to keep our eyes on these rookies this season. Shout us out at Up and Adam Show if you see a rookie make a move that you need to have on this list. We didn't get to talk to the Commanders rookie. We didn't get to. We'll figure all of that out as we go along. Now we've got lots to get to because we've got Nick Foles on the show, and we have to get to him. But we're going to go to break and come back, hopefully with Nick Foles. We will have 3 sleeper running backs to give you guys as well. We've had a big show. Like I said, the quarterbacks keep rolling in. We have Dak coming on the program. We're going to likely have Daniel Jones on the show, but we have a Super Bowl. None of that. Those two guys, those two nerds, they don't have statues of them out of the link, okay? Or any stadium or anything. Nick Foles on the program after this right here on Up and Adam.
Touchdown! Great throw from Nick Foles. Wow. Now I hate to say, I'ma make it to the top. And he's a touchdown by Nick Foles.
Matt Lombardi was so close to being back in Philadelphia last year, but let's talk to the man who brought that city, that important, beautiful, wild football city, a Super Bowl win, their very first one. Mr. Super Bowl 52 MVP, Mr. Philly, St. Nick, Big Nick Energy, FanDuel partner, and legend, Nick Foles. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's so good to see you. You have a shirt that says Dad Season. So here's my question. Do you ever have these moments, Nick, where you're sitting in the carpool lane, you're picking up your kids from school, and you just go, there's a bronze statue of me outside the link?
You know what? I'm out here in California, so there's not that many reminders of that. So I don't think about it too often. When the Eagles were in the Super Bowl this last year, and I was picking up my daughter from school, there was definitely some people wearing Eagles jerseys, and I saw one of my jerseys, and then obviously a lot of the newer players. And then I even saw a Brent Selleck jersey, which I was really excited about. That was a random jersey. I sent Brent a message right away and said they're representing now in California.
That says the most about you. There's all of these things, but the Brent Selleck jersey got you really revved up. But you're in rare company here. You're a very humble guy, Nick. But this is, come on, the Liberty Bell, Rocky Balboa. Joan of Arc has a statue in Philly, and then it's Ben Franklin, and then it's you. What's the wildest or most memorable sort of fan interaction you've had since that Super Bowl? How many babies are out there named Nick? How many Nick Foles tattoos are roaming around Philadelphia?
Yeah, I've definitely seen quite a few tattoos, and I get text messages, images all the time of a random tattoo or something. I think the big thing is whenever I run into fans, even just yesterday, I ran into a fan playing a little bit more golf right now. So I was at the golf course, and he was just telling me about his story and being at the Super Bowl and how much that meant to him. And tears start coming in the eyes, and that's just part of it. It's emotional. The city of Philadelphia is such a special city. Anyone who spent time there knows how passionate the city is about its people, its sports teams. And I think just the emotion that I see every time I encounter Eagles fans is really special.
Nick, we're so happy to have you. We'll talk a little bit more about the Eagles, but I want to talk a little football with you. It's here. 2 of your former teams playing in preseason action tonight. I want to ask you about the Colts because there's this Jonathan Taylor stuff going on. They're saying he has until Tuesday. Hard deadline. Find a suitable trade. There's 6 teams, I don't know who they are, that reportedly have called. Is Indy making a mistake? You played with him. You know him.
You know what? I think, and this is what the team knows as well, I've played a lot of football. I've been around a lot of players, been around a lot of running backs that are amazing players. Some are future Hall of Famers, and JT's in that category of, the talent-wise, if he has the career I think he will have, he'll be in the talks of being in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, he's still early on in his career. He has a lot to continue to prove, but he has that pedigree. He has that ability to do something that's very special. And then on the other side, the guy is a teammate. He's a great teammate. He handles himself in the locker room so well. He's a guy you want to build your franchise around. You know what? There is a business aspect that I don't know the behind the scenes between JT and the Colts. I hope they work it out. I know he means a lot to the city, a lot to the fan base, a lot to that locker room. I'm a huge JT fan. I just hope it works out. I know the business side sometimes gets in the way of a lot of these things with the teams and the fan base and everything. But I'll tell you what, the guy's an outstanding player, outstanding human being, and I hope it works out.
Really well said, and that's what we hear from everybody, but the business side of it is the business side of it. Now, it's something that you can speak to really well. You're like the perfect person to ask about this quarterback situation in the Bay Area. Because the Niners, they say, okay, it's Brock, then it's Sam Darnold, he's the number 2 guy, and it leaves Trey Lance's future up in the air. So what would you say to Trey Lance? What sort of either words of encouragement or just advice would you give to him?
Yeah, I think the big thing is you want to stay in the moment. I know he's probably talking to family members or different people along the way that he really trusts. I think for me in those situations, I learned so much about myself. It's not easy. It's definitely an adverse situation, but everything I know about Trey, and I've only got to meet him really shortly on the field, but sounds like he's got a really good head on his shoulders, looks at things the right way. So, I mean, the guy is extremely talented. I think the number 3 pick in the draft or something like that. Obviously, they did a lot of research on him, and he's an outstanding player. He just needs to be in an environment where he can continue to grow. I think it'll work out for him. He's just got to go through this time, and in a couple of years to look back and say, the reason I'm able to handle the situation I'm in right now is because of what happened to me currently right now. So this adverse situation is going to help him in the years to come. He's just got to go through it right now, and it'll be all right.
So staying in the moment, I think that's good advice, not just for football and business, but just life in general. But I think about your career, Nick. You've been through some things, some weird things, like trade from Philly, the time with the Rams, Jacksonville. When you're talking, from this place of experience, what is the single moment of your career that tested you, like you're saying, the most?
I think every year in the NFL, it tests you in one way or the other. Sometimes it's in the tough times where you're traded and you don't expect it. And then the other times it's winning the Super Bowl and finding a way to come down off that high and realizing that football is going to continue. And then the Super Bowl can't help you the next season. And then the last several years of my career, moving from team to team, starting over, meeting new people, moving my family, they've all been different challenges that are going to equip me in life. And I'd say the one pivotal moment always goes back to my year after St. Louis, where I almost stepped away from the game. And I really need to go through that off season and the tough times and not wanting to touch a football, and talking to my wife through it all, praying about it all, spending time in, the Bible and journaling. And really there wasn't a lot throughout the off season. It was just tough. And then there was a moment where I realized I was sort of living in fear at that time. And I just said a prayer, and I realized for me to grow as a human being, like it was really just taking that step of faith, going back into the game, going into an environment in Kansas City with Andy Reid where I knew that, hey, if I still love the game and I wanted to play, this is where it would happen. And it was the 4th day of training camp that I woke up and I was reading the Bible, I was studying film, and I realized, tears started coming from my eyes because I was excited to play football. I was excited to go to practice. I was excited to be with the guys, and I hadn't felt that in a long time. So I think that moment helped me so much, and it's really been like 7 years since that moment, and so much has happened since. But that moment helped me when the Super Bowl run came, because I realized, like, I went through all that. I can handle this, just staying in the moment, trusting my teammates, obviously trusting the Lord and going through it. But that's why I say the thing about Trey Lance is what he's going through right now is going to help him in the future, no doubt.
It's true. I mean, I'm even trying to journal now. I've just started that sort of path of, seriously, staying in the moment and just getting it out of your head. And it's so centering and helpful, and faith has a lot to do with that. Even to me personally, that resonates. So I love hearing that from you, and I love hearing about you being excited about football. So I was at Eagles Training Camp a couple of weeks ago, Nick, and I'm talking to Sirianni, and he's insane and madman, and all the OGs were there, Fletcher Cox, and I talked to Lane Johnson and all of them, and everybody. AJ Brown's like fighting people. It's ridiculous. Like, do you miss preseason action? Do you miss training camp?
This has been very different, just through the different journeys. And this offseason, I really told myself it's another soul-searching offseason as it pertains to football. And I've gone through this so many times in my career where you just want to see where your heart's at with the game and everything. But this offseason, I was like, you know what? I'm going to really just enjoy my 3 kids, enjoy my wife, take them to school, make the lunches, and you know, that's an adjustment in itself. So there's a reason why I'm like wearing, you know, dad season. Being a dad and being with your kids, that's training camp is probably, you know, it equips you for training camp. We'll just say that. When they're yelling and tantruming and stuff, that takes a lot of energy.
Okay, what is in the lunchbox? What is that like? What's in the Nick Foles children's lunch pail?
You know what? I little peanut butter and jelly,
of course,
some little cheese sticks and some pretzels, and then the snack. We have some little healthy snack options. There's some fruit and different things like that. And I tried to get really cool with it early in the year, and it just wasn't working. And I saw that he wasn't. Our son Duke wasn't eating it. So my wife just said, just make him like a little peanut butter and jelly, melt it a little bit.
What were you trying to make him? What were you making, like rack of lamb for lunch? What are you talking about?
I don't even know what it was. I think just like a gourmet, just like a nice little like sandwich with turkey and cheese melted and all these different things, and he just wouldn't eat it. So I would have eaten it, but he's a kid, so peanut butter and jelly is always a kid's favorite.
Listen, Duke and Lily, they're the luckiest on the planet that they've got you wearing the dad season shirt. You're doing the carpool. You're playing golf, which we love. You're on a journey. What does the future with Nick Foles and the NFL look like in your eyes?
Right now, I'm not sure. Right now, it's just, you know, seeing where my heart is, just like I did so many times in my career. I think every time you move with your family and your kids, and it's a lot, you know, my wife is a champ. Tori's a champ. I mean, yeah. I know you just gave me a lot of credit for the food, but she's the one steering the ship at the house. I'm just sort of, I always tell her, like, in the house, you're the starting quarterback. I'm the backup quarterback. I'm going to help you and do everything I can, but you know how everything works so well. But for me in football, I'm not sure. I'm just taking it day by day. You know, I'm sure at some point I'm actually going to be, you know, I'm here. Maybe get involved in my daughter's flag football team and see what plays we can come up with. Maybe run the Philly special. But I'm not doing anything drastic right now. I need to make sure that, you know, I got to see where I'm at, and we'll see through the course of this season if I get excited about it again or what it may be. But right now I'm just excited being a husband and a father, and really just trying to soak it in, because these kids are growing up fast, and I don't want to look back and say I missed it.
You have that's such good perspective. And you really do have one of the, I'm just a weird in a good way, but one of the weirder and most interesting. I can't think of an NFL player that has a weirder and more interesting career than you. Can you name one? I can't.
I don't know. I mean, there's been so many of them, but I'll say this. At the end of these 11 years, I've learned a lot, met a lot of people, and I definitely need time to just go through it. And at some point, I'll have to go through my old journals. And I think it's great that you're journaling. Yeah. I started several years ago, and I didn't even realize what I was doing until I just poured everything on a paper. And then we eventually wrote a book after the Super Bowl. But yeah, during this time, I'm just going to try to soak it all in. And I'll eventually look back and try to think back throughout the career and all the ups and downs.
It's really well said. Now, we know that you're part of the FanDuel family, which we love, and everyone's going to be excited to see you at FanDuel Fan Fest this Saturday, Xfinity Live. What can fans expect? Any special guests coming? What can you tell us?
Yeah, I know Dawkins and Sproles are going to be there. I'm excited to see them. There's other guys that are going to be there. I think they got some events for us, obviously signing autographs, talking to fans. All the particulars. I think I'm just excited about being at Xfinity Live. I'm so used to being at training camp across, you know, Broad Street, and now I get to be with the fans and get to be with some of, you know, former players and former icons that I looked up to with Dawkins. And I think just spending time with them. And I know there's some activities that we'll have. I think some competitions between us older players that I'm excited about. But just being in the city of Philly is going to be fun.
It is. And, you know, you were talking about, like, you're removed from it. You're in California. You're making these peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Maybe you go to Philly and you get that itch. Just saying.
You never know.
It could happen.
You never know.
I think
they're pretty good. I think they're pretty settled in their QB room. They have a really solid QB room, and they're a fun team to watch. I was just talking the other day with someone, and they have such a great group of young players, but not only that, but great veterans. And Howie's done a great job of mixing them together to have another year of a dynamic team.
Yeah, Jalen is, you know, zeroed in. Like, he is like mega crazy focused, huh?
Yeah, he is. And honestly, in the city of Philly, that's great. I mean, he's doing a great job as a young player leading, and obviously he has a lot of games under his belt now and had an outstanding season last year. And I mean, everything he's doing, you can tell that, you know, everyone knows every time they play the Eagles, this is a really good team. So the Eagles are going to get every team's best shot. And Jalen being locked in is going to give them the best opportunity. But it's a team game, and I know they have a lot of players on all sides of the ball and a lot of great coaches. I mean, they have some new coaches, offense and defense, and that's always the struggle is when you bring in new coaches or a coach gets a new job within the organization, there is an adjustment because it's different personalities, but having that great group of players is really going to help them along the way.
Nick, you're an absolute legend. I'm sure you've got carpool and things to get to. Enjoy the journey, as you're saying. Stay in the moment, as we will learn and are inspired to do from you joining us today. And everybody go to FanFest. It's at Xfinity. It's in Philly. You saw the QR code. We'll get all the information out. And you can go up and thank Nick Foles for the Super Bowl and being a legend, and maybe be like, we miss you around the old NFL, buddy, around the old water cooler. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Thanks, Kay.
Appreciate talking to you. Love having him on the show. Love the perspective. Love his take on Jonathan Taylor and what he can be, if not in Indy, somewhere else for his career. So we are going to be back with some rookie running backs. We're going to give you some running back sleepers to talk about. We're going to talk to Mr. Matthew Hamilton about Jordan Addison and how he views the stud wide receiver next. Fantasy Bits, time for Fantasy Bits. Today I'm hitting you up with my favorite 3 running back sleepers. And guess where we're going first? Chicago. I'm actually going to Chicago this weekend, and that's where I will find Khalil Herbert. That's right, he's going 32nd right now according to Fantasy Pros. Even after his running backs coach David Walker reiterated yesterday, Herbert is the lead back in Chicago. How is that a thing, guys? This is a dude who racked up 5.7 yards per carry and does under 800 total yards, the backup to David Montgomery last year. We have seen how electric he can be this preseason as well. So, yeah, I'm going to say I'm taking him over Cam Akers, over David Montgomery, sure, because he's splitting carries with Gibbs. I think Herbert's floor is RB2, okay? So grab your boy, Khalil Herbert, okay, and Justin Herbert, who's going to be the MVP. Anyway, Javonte Adams, another running back sleeper I love. If you look at where he's going, just inside the top 30 on Fantasy Pros, 28th running back off the board currently, and he might not come out of the gates at like 100 miles per hour coming off a knee injury, fine, but he's going to have a massive impact down the stretch and later as the season ramps up. You want this guy in your team, and all signs are pointing to Sean Payton and this offense being built around the run game. We saw Javonte put up a 1,200-yard season with 7 touchdowns and a 50-50 split with Melvin Gordon, so he's going to be the unquestioned #1 dude here now. And do I think he finishes inside the top 15 if he stays healthy? I sure do. They certainly didn't go get a running back. I don't think Sean Payton's on the phone working the lines for Jonathan Taylor. So Javonte's the guy. You're seeing very little of him in the preseason because they know they want to unleash his fury when all happens in 2023. Now, finally, the other the running back sleeper I want to talk to you guys about is Rachaad White, okay? He's going 24th, behind a Cam Akers, behind a James Conner. And I love the value of Rachaad here because I feel like we have more split backfields than ever in the league right now. It's a super big headache, and you know he's getting the volume, okay? Leonard Fournette is gone. Leonard Fournette's busy standing up our show, not showing up, but that's what he's doing. So, sorry, he just caught a stray there. It's true, he stood us up one day. Rachaad White, though, guys, in Tampa, he still caught 50 balls. You're getting serious PPR value there. A Baker Mayfield offense is always better when it's run heavy, and I think White's going to have a lot of opportunities to shine here, and I like him over Akers. I'm not saying I don't like Akers. I just think I like these guys a little bit more. I'm comfortable taking a guy like Rachaad White over James Cook, and I do think we see Mr. White finish as a solid RB2 this year, and he is a friend of the show, so we are giving him that stamp of approval. Okay, I think we're going to get to hammer time right now because we have 2 weeks of preseason footage at our disposal.
New animation.
I'm sorry, did you make your own new animation on the program?
I did not. That's the first time I'm seeing it.
Run that
That's
back.
pretty cool.
Time for Hammer Time. Let's take a look. All right, it's time for Hammer Time. I know that you have been, this is ridiculous, studying these rookies. One of you is fine. Do we need 2 of you on that graphic? I don't know. What is jumping out on the tape so far?
Well, we've only gotten 1 preseason game out of him so far, but Jordan Addison has looked incredible. I think with what he showed against Seattle, what we've seen from him in training camp, he's going to be that next rookie receiver that we see hit 1,000 yards. And let's look at some of the tape, and I'll show you why.
All right.
So here it's basically a 2-man route concept. That's Addison at the top of the screen running this deep cross. You got Jalen Reagor at the bottom running a skinny post. And I love the details in his route running here. He stays vertical until he clears those linebackers. That keeps that safety in the middle of the field, and then he breaks to the sideline. And I'm not trying to pick on Nick Mullins here, but if that's Kirk Cousins back there, he probably hits Addison in stride. And this is a play that goes, instead of a 20-yard gain, this could be a 40-yard gain or a touchdown with what Addison can do with the ball in his hands. So love seeing that out of him. And then there's this one. He's running a deep route again, another two-man route concept. But again, the details in his route running, the stem here to push vertical. You see how the cornerback's hips are opened up to the middle of the field?
Yeah.
No corner in that situation is going to be able to defend an outbreaking route. And Addison sets him up perfectly, breaks to the sideline. And this is ruled an incompletion, but I want to show you this next angle.
Right.
I think he got both feet down here. The body control, the footwork is unbelievable. Look at this. Both those toes are dragging.
Okay, Nate Burleson.
He keeps the ball all the way through the ground. This is a phenomenal catch, and it's indicative of what he did at USC, what he's done all training camp. And I have to say, when you look over at FanDuel Sportsbook right now, there's some interesting odds. He's plus 300 to have the most receiving yards of any rookie in the league this year. And I really like that because with Justin Jefferson's drawing so much of the attention on the other side, Addison's going to get all the favorable matchups. I love some of the other receivers on this list here too, but as you know, as we've seen year after year after year, situation matters so much for rookie receivers, and I don't think there's a single rookie that's in a better situation than Jordan Addison right now.
And he'll have favorable matchups. We love seeing that. I mean, I like all those other rookie receivers on that list over at FanDuel Sportsbook, so do with it what you want. But yeah, and then you have to consider the fact that Dalvin Cook's gone, right? Kevin O'Connell wants to air it out. This is a McVay disciple. The Vikings had the third highest passing percentage in the league last year. So without Cook, I do think they could have the potential to become an even heavier passing offense this year. No Thielen, it's going to go to Jordan Addison. And do you think Nate will sue us for saying toe drag swag? Is he at that point? Is he at the point where he's trademarked it and sending lawyers after people? He should. We've always told him he should.
It's either going to be that or he's going to be sending us T-shirts from Vanilla Gorilla. So who knows?
I miss a Vanilla Gorilla.
I know.
Hey, how about Nick Foles? We don't know what's going on. I think the big question is what's going on with Nick Foles? Are you in? Are you out? Are you retiring? It sounds like he's really not shutting the door, but it also sounds like he's not super excited about playing right now. And I love that he is honest about that.
Yeah, you can tell he's kind of evaluating everything. And it is interesting hearing his perspective. He's been so candid throughout his career of all the ups and downs, of all the things that he's gone through after what happened with the Rams, how he almost walked away from the game entirely. Andy Reid convinced him to come back and back up Alex Smith in Kansas City. And that's what kind of reignited his love for the game. So you're right. I love just seeing him be so candid and open up about his thought process and how he's processed the game and kind of navigated his way through some of the ups and downs over the years. And that's why I thought it was perfect to have him kind of give some advice on what Trey Lance is going through right now, because he's been there. He's been in those shoes and he's reached the mountaintop afterwards. So if there is anybody that a Trey Lance can look to as an inspiration in such a tough time, it's a guy like Nick Foles.
Yeah, and I mean, the advice was to stay present and sort of stay in the moment with all of it. But we'll see what happens with. I mean, you and I have been saying this, not to tap, and so we're not excited that he's getting traded. It's just, and that's why it was even weirder when Shanahan wasn't really pumping him up, because it's we know you're not going to keep this guy. Everything worked out in their favor. You and I were talking even this morning, the fans. We get why the fans are upset because you took Trey, but this could be worse. They could have taken Trey and then had to start him, or it was just a flop and it didn't work out. Luckily they had something right. Part of it was right in grabbing Brock Purdy where they did, and he can now sort of come be the savior. And if not, they do Christian McCaffrey out there. But the pressure is so insane for this Niner squad. I liked hearing from Foles. I don't know where he ends up. I don't know what the future holds for him. I couldn't get a good read on do you want to still play? I don't.
Yeah.
No. But there's been points in his career he hasn't wanted to play, and then sort of comes back.
Yeah.
So there's that. I do want to bring back the profit boost token just to remind everybody if we can. Do we have that full screen? We have, guys, it's 25% off. We are boosting it. FanDuel Sportsbook, let us do it. I am sending you a profit boost. Here are the stipulations. You got to use it on a sort of futures bet, and the category that we picked today is passing. I picked Justin Herbert. I mean, you guys can pick whatever you want. You can pick Derek Carr, like I did last year and lost, but it's a futures bet. You have to activate it and sort of claim it today. So get into your email, log into the FanDuel Sportsbook. I think Justin Herbert leads the league in passing. It makes a lot of sense to me. I know their defense will be better. Hopefully he won't have to throw so much, but I think Kellen Moore is literally going to say, do you? I want to see 60, 70 yards. I don't want to hear the name Josh Allen. I want your big arm to sort of shine as he's healthy. And you thought...
No, I love that. Again, especially after hearing, when we had Chase Daniel in studio and him telling us about what Justin Herbert was going through last year with the rib injury, with the shoulder. I think he was in playing through a lot more pain than he let on. And having him fully healthy with all those weapons, like you said, I think, and Kellen Moore, I think it's going to be a huge year for Herbert. I talked about Lamar Jackson with their new look offense in Baltimore, with Odell, with Zay Flowers, with Todd Monken running the show. I like him over 4,000 yards for the first time in his career. And I really need to hit one of these profit boosts too, so I can afford a really cool jean jacket like the one you have in that promo picture.
Yeah.
So.
You're going to come after me about fashion? You who has one bomber jacket that I bought that for you in 2017. I bought you that bomber jacket. It's still the only jacket you really.
It's a great jacket.
All right, I could really.
It's a great jacket.
I've got takes on your.
No, that's what.
I've got takes on your wardrobe.
I know you do. You haven't been shy about sharing them, but yeah.
I want to get to this. We saw this morning. Our awesome producers brought it to my attention. I mean, because if making the NBA Finals last year wasn't enough, Jimmy Butler took over the U.S. Open last night. He beat world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz in an exhibition match, raising $320,000 for Ukraine relief, and then apparently got a new job joining the ball crew. Hamilton, he's like a ball boy vibe right here. Is there one job in sports like this that you would most want? What would that be?
I was thinking about this. I don't want to be the guy mopping the floor at the NBA games. That's a little too much. I like ball boy at a baseball game though. You get a chance to catch some of those line drives. You get to give the foul balls to kids. It seems like a pretty cool spot. It reminds me when we were passing out the Grater's ice cream, and you just get to give kids something.
I want the job with the least accountability. I feel like the mopping the floor is LeBron's gonna tear an Achilles and I'm over. I don't want anything where I can affect anything. I want to just what do you do when you do nothing? What is that job? That's the one I want. Being a TV sports host. That's the one. That's the one. That's it. I'll say this. I'm going to give it just a little shout out here to Apple because, I'm on the phone. There's a lot of stuff going on with my family right now, and I'm calling and checking in, and it's just since he's playing Miami, they're all in on Apple. They're all in on Lionel Messi. They're all, and this is my dad is Mr. Soccer USA, Chester, and he's it's just for show. Lionel's coming. It's just business. It's whatever. No, he's doing exactly what the Jets hope that Rodgers does, and I can't believe it happened.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty cool to see. I mean, the Philly fans, we should ask Foles about that. The Philly fans booing Messi while wearing his jersey. It was pretty cool.
I'm excited. Foles in Philly. We're here. We're back. I'm in New York on Monday. We will see you guys. Fun guests next week. Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest Up and Adams content right on YouTube.